Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 612th episode of the GeekVerse podcast. I'm the Clown Prince of Sticky Notes, Travis Snail, and I'm joined by...
I'm the Space Cowboy, Kirkland Patzer.
Hey, I'm Dylan.
The Chinese chicken, Taylor Field.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to review The Fall Guy. Luckily, day early screening. Not too early, but early enough. So that's why if you want to listen to this, we will give you a little warning. Say, hey, we're getting into spoilers if you're either deciding if you want to see it or if you're not seeing a weekend or even not till Thursday night. There will be a nice 15-minute portion where you can be all carefree and not have to worry about it. It's late, so everything you need to know is down below. Thank you to the patrons. The best way to support us is go over there. The best content's over there. 3 exclusive episodes this week. Other stuff, I've heard the Hunka Boys are back and get a new episode there a little early, so lots of good jazz happening on Patreon. We appreciate your support. Check out all our other reviews. SideQuest, X-Men will be in the feed. No news, maybe next week. Kirk Patzer, spoiler 3. Spoiler free, not 3.
I got 3 spoilers to drop right here, boys.
Ryan Gosling in the movie, Emily Blunt in the movie. What did you think of The Fall Guy? Because I feel like this got a lot of hype. We were big fans of Bullet Train. That was a big experience for us. It was a Golden Geek nominee also as well. So there's a lot of hype coming in here. David Leitch doing this. You got Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, and a lot of other great actors there. Taylor Johnson for Taylor, But what was your experience with the Fall Guy?
My experience?
Did you fall in love with the Fall Guy?
I fell. I don't know if I fell in love. I definitely had a lot of hype for this movie coming off of Bullet Train. I absolutely loved that. That was like some of the hardest I've ever laughed in a movie theater, I think. So for like all those reasons, I was just expecting the big belly laughs. I think I still got like somewhat there with the belly laughs. There were some moments that really got me, but I will say this movie was a lot more of, it's a rom-com, but it's a lot more of like emphasis on the rom than I was maybe expecting versus the com. If that makes any sense there. I don't know. I just think because I had those expectations for the big belly laughs, it didn't get as goofy or ridiculous as maybe I was expecting it to be, just because I thought Bullet Train kind of went there. There is goofy moments, but just not to the full extent that I was kind of expecting. So that, I don't want to say it like caught me off guard, because I just had really high expectations, but it just didn't quite meet those super high expectations for that reason. But I still think as a movie, it was definitely still a really great time. I think both Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt were just fantastic in this movie. They were really great. I really love their chemistry, and it was just maybe a lot. It was really cool to see kind of like a movie about making a movie, like especially for like a stunt person's perspective, but also just like when we were kind of following Emily Blunt's character as the director, and just there's one specific scene, it happens throughout the movie, but just so many people on the crew are like going to her, and it just kind of like made me realize how hectic that job must be of just the director of a movie. I've been a part of a movie making process, but there's definitely
for me.
There's definitely a lot less moving pieces than what these large scale big budget movies would have, and it just kind of, I don't know, it's like we've seen so many movies on the podcast, talked about them so much, but to really kind of peer behind the lens of like what's going on, all the moving pieces, it's easy to forget just how much is involved in the movie making process. So I did like what was shown there, and I thought Aaron Taylor Johnson was also really good with the role that he had. I definitely want him in more roles like this. This doesn't get me super hyped for Craven, but it gets me excited for maybe more roles like
Craven
this.
like this, that'd be great. Like, I know people be like, it's not comic book accurate. I don't care. Make Craven a weirdo and have Aaron Taylor Johnson play him like that,
Yeah. But yeah, I think that kind of covers my general thoughts right now. I still think it was a really great time, but my expectations were a little bit maybe too high for this one, but it was still a great time. Stuntman thumbs up. I would definitely give it right now a quick rating.
There you go. Bringing some Stuntman / X-Men rating. Mr. Muss, where are your thumbs at?
My thumb's firmly up. Honestly, Kirkland, with the opening statement you had there, I feel like we saw a different movie. I don't know. I feel like the romance to me was kind of, I don't know, underneath all the kind of action comedy stuff. I felt like that was kind of the forefront of the movie. And yeah, I don't know. I just feel like the vibe. I got like a very different vibe off of it than you did, which is interesting. But I really enjoyed it. I had a ton of fun with this. I like this more than Bullet Train, and that was a great time too. I mean, I didn't see that one in the theater, so maybe that would take away a little bit of enjoyment because it's such a cinematic type movie. But I had such a great time with this. I think the acting is just amazing. Like the chemistry between Gosling and why am I blanking on Emily Blunt? I don't know, I blanked on her name there. Is so good, and that's maybe one of my cons is I wanted more of them, and I'll explain why I feel that way in the spoiler section. But they were so good together. Gosling is so fucking funny. He's so good in this, and then all the other side characters, Aaron Taylor Johnson doing like McConaughey sort of thing impression at times is so good. All the other side characters, some fun sneak peek sort of characters in there too. I thought the action is really great as well. I love the kind of this movie's not trying to hide the fourth wall-y elements of it. It's very much like a telling this. They're telling you about the story that the movie is then going to tell. But I thought that stuff was really well done and really fun, and still like creative. But like the movie like knew what it was too, so it didn't come across as really cheesy. Like they nailed that kind of meta element art part of it. I think maybe another small con for me, like the cons I do have are like nitpicks, is just like the ending sequence, like just kind of stretched out longer than it needed to for me. There's a moment when I thought it would have been like the perfect ending, and then there's like 15 minutes more action, and then there's like epilogue. Like there's a lot. It just kind of keeps going. So that would be a minor comment. I was having such a good time at the theater for this one that I didn't even really care. So yeah, I freaking love this. I had such a good time. Way more than I was expecting to even. So yeah, big fan. Big thumbs
I'll
up.
go next because I'll leave Mr. Field last. Yeah, I didn't expect this movie to be maybe one of our more divisive reviews, but I'm on the opposite end where this is probably my most disappointing movie this year. I had the expectations too, but I think for me, it was just I had a problem with tone where at times they felt like they were trying to be in the real world, and then at times they felt like they were trying to do Tropic Thunder, and the movie kept bouncing back and forth where you'd have Emily Blunt and a producer of a movie who's just a character, just a regular person, but then come time an action scene, they're pulling out things like you see in a John Wick movie. And I get it because it's David Leitch, and I wish it kind of went in one corner or the other. I agree the chemistry is fantastic. I agree almost you could use a bit more of that. I think they gelled really well. Emily Blunt's just very charming in this. Ryan Gosling always great at especially I'd say the past 5 years doing this since Nice Guys, like the self-deprecation humor. I think he's very good at that. I think for me too, it's just a lot of the jokes, that's all where humor subjective just didn't hit. It felt like it was a lot of improv that just was on the set they thought was good. And here's a good thing, if it's not improv, they played it off very well and very natural. Then the writing just wasn't good. I did notice the writer because they did very cool credits of like it in the script, and the guy's name is Drew something. I'll find out before the end of the review, but they're doing them in a highlight way. I was like, oh, I wonder if he wrote Bullet Train, and I'll have to check after. And then as the movie went on, I went, this guy didn't write Bullet Train, and he didn't write Bullet Train. There was just something where Bullet Train to me felt more succinct tone-wise the whole time way, where this, it bounced all over. I didn't laugh much. I was really wanting to laugh a lot, and there's a few moments. I probably Kirkland has more than me, but I think I have a few moments, but nothing like Bullet Train where it was moment after moment. And I think in general, this is kind of like he did Hobbs and Shaw, and I think it's kind of like that. Like it feels very better than a Fast and Furious movie, but as far as the humor goes, but I've liked a lot of his other work. I prefer Deadpool 2 to Deadpool 1, but yeah, just something here didn't work for me. I think it's way too long. I think that like the ending sequence, I think you could cut half an hour out of this movie. The beginning sequence, I think, is too long as well. I think there's lots of other moments that they just kind of skip over and they lampshade, but could be needed. I think that is more with Gosling and Blunt. So yeah, I think this could have, as an hour and a half, could have ripped, but sometimes there's just multiple scenes that go on way too long. And I think it's different I think I'd feel a little bit different, which obviously Dylan does, and who knows about his theater, but our theater was very quiet, and I would have felt different if everyone was having a great time. Like, okay, I'm just not enjoying it, but I felt like us three were the ones that were laughing the most, me, Kirkland, and Taylor, and we weren't even laughing that much. So I thought, oh, okay, what's going on here? So yeah, it was fine. It's not a fail or anything. Would I recommend it? Yeah, like I think you'd have a fun enough time. Like I don't regret seeing it, but I don't think I'll ever watch it again. I don't think it's gonna be needed another view. It just feels like one of those kind of all right action movies that happened, and yeah, I guess I wanted more of the rom and less of the com. So that's where I am. I jinxed it. The Discord jinxed it because I was talking about my movies this year. I'm like, oh, Lisa Frankenstein surprised me, and Love Lies Bleeding and Greatest Hits. I'm like, I'm having a good year so far, and this movie that I anticipated, but in no way is it bad. There's lots of great. They show in the credits lots of great practical stunt works. There's lots of great humor if you're into film and just the film world. I think they make lots of good jokes about movies and production, and like Kirkland was talking about with the director. So I think there's some good stuff in here, but nothing that I'm gonna really take with me more than a couple days, and then I'll be like, "Oh right, Fall Guy came out this year, unfortunately." So that's where I am. Taylorfield, where are you bringing us home on the non-spoilers portion?
I enjoyed parts of this movie, but overall, this is a disappointment for me. I was not feeling it. I think that it just a con that I had with that movie Argyle is that it just was so long and it kept
Let's do a quick
rolling.
Argyle review.
It kept
too
rolling
long.
over and going on and on and on. And I feel like, okay, like I couldn't tell when the third act of this movie was because it just kept going on and on and on. So that was a big con for me. But that being said, there are some highlights in here. I think some of the jokes, they worked for me, but the character chemistry was good too. But I would have liked to have seen things kind of expanded upon. There were some surprises in there that I wasn't expecting, but just to get a little bit more expansion on certain characters kind of interacting with each other would have been a little bit nice. But yeah, it feels like it was missing something. And just the longevity of this film really just pulled me out of it. And the way they did the whole end, like very, very end of this film was just
The end sounds like it hurt
wild.
you a lot there, Taylor.
It did. I was really
You mentioned that like 5 times.
I was there at the start. I was there for probably the whole middle, but at the end, I was really starting to just feel phased out. I was not engaged with the characters at this point. I wasn't engaged with the action. I was really not engaged with the story, and so I would easily put Bullet Train over this. I think that was just it was consistent, and like you were saying, Travis, the writers were different, and I feel like that's. Before we even confirmed that, I feel like, okay, no, we know, because it just feels very different from what Bullet Train was, how their dialogue is between the characters and whatnot. So, yeah, I feel like this was just too, I don't want to say too short of being great because it was long. So too long of being great. I don't know.
Wow, what is
too short and long of being great. Oh, that's okay. But that's what I mean, though. Would you, if it ended, because I feel like we all have the point where we thought it would end it. If it would have ended there, does that make you more positive? Like, is it mostly just that third act that took it down for you?
I wouldn't say mostly just the third act, but it definitely played a heavy hand in it. Okay. If it ended sooner, I think I could easily see this being a little bit higher up for me.
How many points did the third act take off your score? I'm curious. Don't want to give your score, but how many did it? Just
honestly,
1 point?
I'd say at least 2 points. It was knocked off.
Geez.
I really didn't like how
Aye.
it was. Just it felt dragged out. I really didn't like it. I hate when movies do that. Like it comes to an end, but like, oh no, we're going on, and we have the next.
So you hate
cinematic
Return of the
piece
King?
here.
Now I'm trying to calculate like what Taylor's score is going to be.
Return of the King is okay because it continues the narrative, but this feels like it concludes and then keeps going on. It's the same thing Argyle did, and I hate that. It's such a weird thing, and
You're right
I
about
hope
Argyle, yeah.
I hope movies are not jumping on this wagon in this day and age and doing this because let's not do that. Let's write a better ending that just ends where it's supposed to. I felt like, and this isn't a spoiler, but I felt like when they were changing the script of the movie, I felt like this movie script is changing all the time, which is blowing my mind.
Blow your mind. Well, I'm gonna say from the set pieces, probably not. At least the set pieces, probably expensive stuff, so they weren't changing that. But some character stuff. So, well, there you go. So I don't. Do you recommend it, Taylor?
I'd recommend seeing it at least once, maybe twice. I don't know if you have to rush to theaters. This is probably
Twice?
something.
Wow.
Maybe twice. Yeah. Not in theaters.
But
If you're
not in
going back to
theaters,
back
okay.
That's crazy.
theatrical screenings. I mean, if you enjoy it that much, then by all means. But
Of course. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, there you go. There's an on-spoilers. I don't think we helped you any which way this time in recommending because I feel like we're all over the map here. But I think if you like these stars and you like an action movie, it sounds like enough there's for you. But yeah, we'll get into spoilers. We'll talk some of this out, and we'll be right back. And we're back. So where do we want to start here with the Fall Guy? which has multiple meanings as we learned throughout the movie. You know, he fell, broke his back, then he was also the fall guy for the crime. He's also just a stunt guy. So 3 entendres right there, you know?
Really
I'm gonna,
smart.
I'm gonna pitch a start here. Aaron
Pitch it.
Taylor Johnson. I was not maybe if they announced that he was in here, it just went over my head and I forgot. I was just kind of zoned
We
out.
definitely
to that,
talked
but, like,
about it on
we
the
definitely talked. Okay,
Yeah.
because when I saw him, I was like, oh, okay. Completely just thought this is great, and I would have liked to see a little bit more when he kind of became more prominent in the film. But for the most part, his persona, his character, I was really enjoying, and especially when the start, when Ryan Gosling had his accident and he's being carried out on the stretcher, and you just see like blurry, like he's just thumbs up
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah, I felt like he had some time while he's doing Craven because he's definitely has like the Craven bod going on right now. So I felt like he had some time. Craven come over here, and yeah, I've said that before. I love this type of Johnson when he gets to play the weirdo, make fun of himself. All the Tom Ryder stuff was great, like throughout the movie, and I guess he's in it a lot that way because there's posters and scenes, so they do a good job of sprinkling what they have. But yeah, I don't know where we'll be at the end of the Golden Geeks, and I wish he was in it a little bit more because I would fight for him even supporting. But I really enjoyed him in here. There's some character stuff that's where I couldn't understand with the movie if they want to be real world or not, because at the end his manager, who I also really like her, I've never seen Ted Lasso, but I've heard great things about her in
she's
that
great.
show. Yeah, and I saw this, I'm like, oh yeah, I get it now, she's great. So I don't know if I'll get around to Ted Lasso, but I really liked her. It's Hannah Wingram or something like that. But there's a moment where she's gonna shoot him. He's like, don't do that, that's my favorite stuntman, like best in the business. But then 50 minutes earlier he was gonna burn him alive. So that's where I was like a little like, and then at the end he's just still kind of a piece of shit. When we got talking about the ending, I don't know why they did that weird post credit, like just have that in the movie. They already showed Momoa in the movie, so another weird thing with the ending. But overall I liked Tom Ryder. I had fun with him.
Yeah, you won't find me defending anything past them landing the car after the jump. Like,
Yeah, I think
'cause
that's where
honestly,
we're
all that
yeah.
stuff is when I was like, yeah, I don't love how much they're jumping the shark with these characters being like just true evil instead of like, okay, there was this misunderstanding, they're trying to work it out. And once you know the plan, like it is pretty evil what they're doing. But then when it's just like, yeah, her with a gun and a helicopter, it's a bit much for this like movie producer type character.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't think we needed that last shot of him actually dying at the end.
Yeah,
That was maybe a bit excessive.
because then at the end, I expected they're gonna do some funny thing where he got arrested, but they're showing like his recovery and like how he's gonna be a better person. But they gave him one moment to be a good guy to like kill him, so it was odd. But I think like you said, that's the point we're all at, is the truck landing. I think we all thought it was ending there, and then when they reveal, oh no, there's a way you can get the recording.
And I was
it
satisfied.
Me too.
You
Yeah.
know, then you go into the little epilogue section. You kind of explain
Yeah.
what happened there with the cops and stuff. That's kind of it. But no, and show them having their love scene at the end, going on the beach. But yeah, I don't think we needed the whole
And I felt-
helicopter sequence and
And
whatnot.
I feel like it'd be different if there wasn't much action in the movie, and like, hey, for the finale, we really want to go hard. But there was lots of action in this movie. There was fighting, there was cars, there's stunts all over. So I don't know what I don't know. I guess I just felt like they wanted to go really hard in that ending, and they did. I just, too much birthday, as the expression is sometimes.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
felt
think I've
pretty
heard that one.
dense.
You have now. It's like too much of a good thing. It's like it's great that you have these great stunt people, and like I liked the Gosling fall, and they showed in the credits. Like there's some fun stuff going on, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, with with Aaron Taylor Johnson, I'm somewhat with you, Taylor. I did know he was in the movie, but I honestly thought that was his dead body in the tub when we first watched
Henry.
that trailer. So like I thought he was killed off right away. So when that's revealed that it's it's Henry, fucking Henry.
All that stuff was good throughout. All the callbacks, the footage of Gosling when he's doing the like. that
Yeah,
high-
all that's fantastic. And like those scenes reminded me of like Bullet Train, like the
Yeah.
humor from that. And I think I was just wanting a little bit more of that because all of that 100% worked for me. But no, Aaron Taylor Johnson for what was like his inclusion, I guess, in this movie, I thought he was fantastic. I thought he was just super ridiculous, and like I said at moments I wanted this movie to go more goofy. I feel like he was at like that perfect level. He's just not in the movie too much, but no, he was good, and I agree wholeheartedly with what you guys said about just like the length. Like after the car landing sequence, it just seemed like it I don't know. It seemed like they had a lot of different ideas for like how to end the movie, but let's just throw them all in there. Let's just do it, and then we'll throw another one at the end credit. I thought the credits overall were really cool. Just seeing like the actual, just stunt doubles. Like people actually doing the scenes, because I feel like that's kind of rare footage, at least for me to see, is the actual versions of them shooting. And it's funny for this movie because it's supposed to be Ryan Gosling being the fall guy, but then seeing the other fall guys that are doing the falling for our fall guy. Yeah, exactly.
Which is surprising. They showed some with him too, which I was like, wow.
Yeah.
He was doing some stuff. No, I feel like this is like maybe gonna be one of my favorite like super niche subgenres, like between this and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Just like centering a story around a stuntman character is really fun, and it's just one of those jobs that goes unnoticed. Like one of my favorite Tenacious D songs is called Roadie, and it's just an homage to the Roadies, and this is like very much that same thing. And I just think it's a kind of an honorable thing. I'm guessing you guys had that little like precursor with David Leitch and Gosling, which I don't really like those kind of things.
I'm done with this. I'm done with thanks for coming to the movies, my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, this one worked for me because, like, not that we needed them to tell us what the movie was and who it was for and who it was honoring, so it was maybe a bit too on the nose, but I don't know. I think that's a valiant quest to kind of, give some props to these guys. And like, they should totally have an Oscar. I think we've talked about that before. Like, there should definitely be a winner category for best stuntman every year.
I think it's coming. For the first time in like 30 years, they added best casting agent or casting director. So
that's a great call.
I think stunt will be next, and it's a good push. And you should also go, everyone look up like all the things they've done at the premiere. They've done lots of different like fun stunt things happening in the middle premiere, like right on the spot that are surprise. So that's good.
Cool.
And that's one thing. It's like it reminds me, similar to not the exact same extent, but when we did the Mad Max retro, when you get to read about how much they do in there and what they have to do, and that's a good thing. Like there's so much practical stuff. Like there's some definitely CGI stuff here. Like I'm pretty sure that ending with Emily Blunt at Comic-Con, it's just like a green screen background because she just did not look there. But that's what I'm happy with. Like the green screen stuff is that it's backgrounds or locations, and I'm sure of course there's always green screen and CGI to spruce things up and whatnot. But when they're showing all that stuff at the end with the car roll and everything, like they tried their best to make everything practical and safe. So I appreciate that because I feel like we've been talking about that. I think we've been hammering home a lot, but ever since we did like the Indiana Jones retrospective, a lot of like, look how cool this was when they're doing it, and it makes those scenes feel better,
The one that really shocked me was them actually showing like the car jump at the end, because that is just such a wild jump. I was like, there's no way that's actually legit, but then they show them doing it in the end credits. It's like, holy fuck, that's a big jump. That's insane.
Super impressive.
That's like Hot Rod level of stunts.
Hot Rod, is he a stunt guy or what is he?
Yeah, he's like what's that guy?
He's an Evil Knievel.
Yeah,
okay, but he's not a Hollywood stunt guy. I was
Daredevil
trying to find more
guy.
movies for Dylan.
Yeah, stuntman, but not like a body double stuntman. I guess that's the differentiation.
I guess Ghost Rider, same thing, eh? He's a Evil Knievel type character.
He is good. Johnny Blaze is. So I have to ask, because then everybody just cover their ears for a second. But Dylan, did you catch something in this movie? There's a certain sound in there. They did
whether I like it or not, that sound is fucking drilled in my brain at this point. So yeah.
Did you hear it though when they're showing like the metal sword?
Oh,
like,
of course. Yeah.
Good.
No, I mean, that's one thing I loved too about this movie is the movie within the movie. I thought was just it was the perfect amount of hamminess and just like Dune mixed with Mad Max.
Yeah,
which is such a fun setting. And like, seeing the trailer at the end, like that was a really satisfying thing. I don't know if you guys caught too, but like the producer credit was in there for Stephanie Shu's character in the trailer. So I thought that was like a great touch that they put that in there. But I love the fucking weird look of the aliens and the goofy voice that the guy had when he got the loudspeaker for a second. Like all that stuff really worked. I love the setting of this movie.
Yeah,
100%.
And that reminded me too, because it's late, so I might forget some stuff. But big shout out. We're talking about the ending and things that worked and didn't work. Worked is when Ryan Gosling's in the trailer in the suit getting beat up. Again, she's like in John Wick mode, but it's fine. But all the sound effects.
When he just peeks out around the corner, oh my god! So good.
And like his idea is to like tap her on the shoulder and then just grab her by the mouth. Like some good stuff in there. I think that's what got our
gives
theater
her the
most.
thumb
was that
to
scene.
signify that it's him.
she stabs him right in the leg with the pen. And he's just like squealing in pain, but he has like the voice modulator thing on there.
Yeah, and see that's like almost the ending. It's funny to go back to that scene when it's the like they're going over the breakup, and that was like that scene shows the experience of that movie for me. Half those jokes were working for me, and half weren't, and it was like it went on for too long. But then there's be a joke I'd like, so I'm like, okay, I'm into it. But then we're going on for a little longer, so that's where I was like, okay, something for me is not exactly lining up here. But how'd you feel about the Fall Guy? You know, they've set up he's in love with Emily Blunt at the beginning. He has an accident, which we learn later it's not an accident. They do the classic, he grows out a beard, long hair, he's working, and then he's set up to come back for X, Y, and Z, which we'll get into.
Yeah, no, I think Gosling was fantastic in this role. I really, really do. I think his chemistry again with Emily Blunt was really, really good, and just he had a good quality of innocent humor, which I can appreciate. And he looks so good in so many scenes, even though they were doing like 6 retakes of him just being lit on fire and throwing the rock. I love those slow-mo scenes of him standing there and the flames are on. Like, he'd make a damn fine Ghost Rider. Let's just put that out there. But yeah, I think he just he's so charismatic, and he really just brings his all in these types of roles. And I like seeing him in this more action-heavy role where he's using his stunt career as kind of the I guess the advantage against these goons. Like, whether he's fighting and he's got a gun with blanks in it, totally works out. He fakes dead when he knows how to like stop the guy getting away by throwing himself on the car, and the way he's just climbing around. Like, he's not a super agent or superhero or anything like that. He's just the stunt guy. But it's so cool how he's able to apply all those different types of experiences that he's had from different movies to the different situations. So I really thought that was really creative and a lot of fun getting to see how they executed that.
I
Totally.
agree. Yeah, no, I agree with it all. I like the character for the most part. This is probably the most Ryan Gosling role that it's ever been. Like, it's Ryan Gosling on screen. Like, it reminds me a lot of Reynolds and Downey when they do certain roles. I'm like, okay, he's definitely playing a character here, but especially his humor the past 5 years, since I feel like he's done a lot more of this stuff, and I just feel like in public, whether it's a facade or not, this is a lot like him, so I think that works off that way. And yeah, I think it was good chemistry with Blunt, and I liked him and Duke Winston enough. I don't know if I actually needed the whole Duke Winston character. Again, when I talk about half an hour, I just...
Is it not Winston Duke or my...
Other way around. You might be right. Yeah. None of the movie quotes really working for me. It's just like those felt like things that were a little forced, and it's fine because they're in the movie industry, so I do get it. It just wasn't working for me. And then there's a really odd plot where the evil security, which I hated, but like they have guys on the set with like machine guns looking for him, and he's walking around set with no helmets at some points, and they can't find him, and it's just like a weird subplot of I don't need this around here, but I like them enough together. So, but no, I think Gosling does a good job, and they made him a lovable idiot, I'd say, so that works.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets a nice little kind of monologue at the end to explain why he always gives the thumbs up. And I thought that was a good realization moment. So
Yeah, and I think he's just so good at the line delivery. So like every little sequence, I just thought he was so funny, and especially like just watching him on SNL a few weeks ago.
yeah,
And just like he's just such a funny guy. Like his presence when he wants to be, of course he can be a great dramatic actor too, which is why he's so great. And obviously got to show off this kind of muscle as well in Barbie last year. But yeah, I just thought he was so good. Even like the physical comedy stuff too. Like I love the section when he just had so much fucking glass in his hood, and it just like kept going on and on like that. That really worked for me in the apartment there. I thought he had really great chemistry with Winston Duke, and I can agree with some of your character stuff there, but I really liked that duo. Yeah, the movie quotes, I don't know, maybe it was a bit too much, but I just feel like this whole movie, like to me, that kind of fit the tone. And even though I feel like I haven't seen any of the movies they were referencing, so the lines.
Lord of the
like,
Rings, you got that one.
Where was the Lord of the Rings one?
At one point over the radio, he yells, "You shall not pass." I think it's
When they were
all
gonna blow up and stop the SUVs chasing them in
he's
the
on the
Damn,
radio.
I feel like
"You
I missed
shall
that one
not
somehow."
pass. Yeah, so there you go. Look out for that in another watch. So
Damn. Well, like Taylor said, I get to watch it twice, so
yeah,
I'll watch it again.
not in theaters though. You either see it once in theaters or twice at home. That's the
Yeah,
way it goes.
true.
So, and you chose once in theaters, so no, you can't do twice at home. It sounds like you do once at home, but
That's the rules.
that's the rules. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I also think that the Goss was super hot in his role here. I think he's fantastic. His line delivery, his charisma, just everything about him in this movie. I think he was just fantastic. He's looking like you're shouting out Craven the Hunter's physique, man. He was looking shredded as our stunt double here. Just yeah, him in the action scenes as well. Like I think he's an action star, man. like he looked really good just pulling off the fight choreography, or when he was actually doing the stunts. It all looked really, really awesome. One of my favorite scenes in this entire movie was when he finally gets a vehicle, and then he sees Jodie coming out and just turns on the radio. It's like All Too Well by Taylor Swift is playing, and he just like starts like
so
crying to himself. Like it was just, I feel like as soon as you turn on the radio, I kind of just knew what was going to happen. And then the next moment you see like a little bit of tears building up in his eyes. And then it's a kind of a longer scene than maybe.
Yeah, the way they edited it with the flashback was really, really well done, actually.
It feels a lot more extended than maybe what it is. But no, I thought that was hilarious. And no, he was just fantastic. So yeah, great lead.
And then you get the nice knock at the window, which I was hoping for, right? I was like, okay.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. Like the scene was like, as it was unraveling, I'm like, I think this is how it's gonna go, and it went exactly how I thought it was, and it was just chef's kiss.
Yeah, and then on the other side, yeah, you got Emily Blunt, and no, I thought she's just like, I don't know, just kind of a given. Like, and I think it shows both these people have it, but just the versatility. You look from last year to Oppenheimer to this. Complete, like she is the same woman, but you could like lie to me and say, oh, that's like her sister, because like just the versatility of those characters, nothing alike. That other character, very dark, sometimes very dislikable, to this one being the exact opposite, where she's bubbly but not bubbly in a stupid way. It looks like she always got things going on. She's very charming with the whole set. You're kind of rooting for her. And there's times where she's a jerk to her main character and it's justifiable, or she plays it off in a justifiable way, where sometimes like they can have the other love interest, whether it's male female, come off as like an asshole or a bastard, you know, where it's like you're just like, oh, get over yourself, but it's not. So again, I wish that we actually saw the breakup. I hate that it just jumped and they were together they hadn't seen each other for 18 months, and I wish there was a little bit of that. I wanted a more emotion there, because they refer back to that time a lot, and it wasn't like a huge con, but it's something I wanted. But no, in general, very good stuff with the direction, good stuff. I like the reveal of when she finds out it's Gosling, and they do this big slow motion moment, but really for her, it's not right away. She's like, get this, like, I can't work with them. Like, this is not the guy and stuff. So she has some good moments there. The karaoke's good. So
yeah, I feel like I haven't really seen her in a role quite like this before. So I was really impressed to see this other angle of her for all those reasons you described. And I think that's what I was mentioning, where I just wanted more of them, because when you think about it, like they really weren't on screen with each other a lot. Because we have a whole section of this where he goes missing, or she thinks he's left. And then, yeah, he is gone for a while. He is missing. And then they connect, and then they have like a phone call with each other. And I one of my favorite scenes in the movie is like the split screen section, when they're talking about, ooh, maybe I'll do the split screen section of the movie. And then they're just having this conversation where they're talking about the movie, but they're actually talking about each other. And Emily Blunt just has this fucking huge like alien hand on the whole time, and all the things she's doing with it, just like touching random items, or just like has her hand on her chin. I thought was so funny, as he's just like broken into this apartment and still just having this conversation. That was like probably my favorite scene between them. And that one worked because like they weren't in the same room together, but it was edited to be as if they were. But the rest of it, I just felt like there was too many phone calls between them, and like, I don't know, I guess I maybe would have preferred if that boat scene had somehow been worked into a way in which she was actually there and they could be there in person with each other. And then another thing was, I loved the sequence when they just got to like film the movie for a day without any of the really problems going
great.
on.
Yeah.
I thought that was so much fun, but it was like, that was one of the quicker sequences of the movie. And we talked about how like so much of this is bloated, and I wanted like one more day of them just working on the movie together. Cause even in the final sequence, they're not really together. They're in the trailer, but then he's in the car doing the stuff. She's on the sidelines. And once again, they're just like communicating via, the walkie talkie and whatnot. So I think that's maybe my big holdup, is like, they were just so freaking good together. Chemistry was so good. That honestly for me, like I don't feel like I needed that breakup scene, because they were so good at filling in the details with their acting, and then I thought the dialogue was great between them. But yeah, I just wanted maybe another scene or two or three or four. I'll take as many as I can get of them together on screen together, because it was just always a highlight for sure.
Lots of slow motion kisses though. They had a lot of slow. There was like 5 of them.
Yeah.
Each time they kissed, very slow motion.
Watch out, John
Very-
Krasinski. He's coming
What?
for you.
I'd be nervous. You know, Ryan Gosling, good looking guy. Nothing against John Krasinski, but
He
you know,
is
Ryan
too.
Gosling-
Yeah, for sure.
He is, but Gosling, he's Canadian in him, you know. He's not he's not a Southern Canadian. If he's Southern
No.
Canadian, that you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Am I next? Or are you next, Circle? I next?
You can
think
rock
you're the only
paper scissors
person
for
on
it
top.
right now.
Yeah, I think she's great. I love her in whatever role I really see her in. I remember like Justin Bureau, and then Devil Wears
Oh, the
Prada.
adjustment
Forgot
bureau.
about the
Okay.
adjustment. I thought you said Justin Bureau. I was like, man,
Justin-
I've
At
not
first,
heard
I
of
thought you
that.
said Justin Trudeau. I'm like, what are you trying to?
Yeah, fuck,
spout
we're
here
going
on this
political right
podcast?
now.
Yeah.
No, but
I heard he doesn't like her. He
You
don't
guys
like
see the
her.
video I sent you?
yeah, the Adjustment Bureau. I really enjoy that movie, and yeah, Devil Wears Prada. Really love that movie too. She's great in all these roles. Yeah, Oppenheimer, you shut it out. So what's up?
To break, you can continue a second. Dylan, have you seen Ryan Gosling's Drive?
I've not.
Another-
Maybe I did. I might have actually, but I
Another
think I wasn't
Hollywood
engaged
stuntman
with it.
movie. He plays a stuntman in it again. So there
Okay,
you
I
go.
gotta watch that. Yeah.
Taylor, continue. I just meant to bring that half an hour ago and I forgot. So
Oh, good call. Yeah, it's wonderful seeing her portray such a different character, like you guys were talking about, in comparison to previous roles. I think you covered all the bases and just how she's tackling just the cheeriness and the different charismatic features that she has, and just the chemistry she has on screen with Gosling, which is great, and other characters too. And I like the dilemma that she has with Gale, even though something was definitely off with Gale and her schemes, but then that gets reaffirmed obviously near the end of the movie when you realize she's been in on it the whole time. But yeah, no, I liked her character a lot. I thought she did a really good job, and I liked how they gave her much more like involvement in the whole plan near the end too. Because at the start, I was like, okay, is she ever gonna really find out? You just think, oh, she's just kind of in the back seat a little bit, and we have this relationship that's kind of redeveloping here between the two characters, and she's not privy to the whole narrative going on where Gosling's trying to go through and figure out what this whole crime thing that's occurred. But I'm glad that she got brought in, and I'm glad that she was able to actually help and contribute to the whole takedown thing at the end. That was a highlight for me, and the whole end part, I'd say, of this movie with her contribution to that and her whole plan. Because I thought Gosling was going to come up with a plan, but his plan was just kick the shit out of him, and then she managed to get the confession, everything like that. So it was cool to see her kind of bring her A game like that.
never got to really kick the shit out of them. They fought a little bit, but you know, just
I think he kicked the shit out of him pretty good.
yeah. All right. With different definitions of that, but anything. What do you guys want to shout out or talk about next year?
I'll shout out another great actor in this is the dog. I love this little side character.
Jean-Claude.
Yeah, Jean-Claude there. Just this stunt dog who's like trained with only French words, and somehow Gosling knows like you expect him to know the basics, but then he's like grab the bouteille or like
He
whatever.
was
he
like
says.
fluent, man. He sounded good.
Yeah, and that was, I don't know, just the way he would pronounce those things too. It was just hilarious to me. So that was a really great companion there. I like that the dog made it out okay. So yeah, shout out to the dog.
I like
Absolutely.
everything. Oh, go ahead, Kirkland.
That was just something that I remember seeing in the trailer that I was looking forward to seeing, and I assumed that it was actually going to be a more minor role than it was. Like, it is a side character for sure, but Jean-Claude was he was in quite a lot of the final act type sequences. Not just in the car chase sequence, kind of when he's first set up there, and yeah, he bites a lot of gonads in the in this movie. The attaque, just really, murdered a lot of people with that bite. But no, yeah, he was fantastic. Good shout out.
Yeah, that was my only thing. Too many ball bites. There's like
Too many.
too many. I think after 3, I'm good. And there was almost like once he was introduced, each set of bad guys he had to do it. I get it, but
So he's trained to do.
I know. I just wasn't laughing. I just wasn't like I was over it at this point. I was like, okay, good.
It's like Little Mac with the KO punch. He's got the nut grab.
Yeah, but people would say that I use some of those punches a little too much for Little Mac, you know.
I agree with everything you guys said. I think the dog was fantastic, and I loved how yes, there was a lot of the ball grabbing, biting, but there was definitely an interesting extensive knowledge that this dog had, and it was just the certain tasks the dog was doing when Ryan Gosling tells the dog in French to get the water bottle, and it knows to get the water bottle out from under the pedal
What are
in
you
the
doing?
vehicle. Like that's just yeah, what are you doing? You gotta go save her. That was really really good, and I like how prominent of a character this dog became.
What do you guys feel about the drug sequence? I'm like mixed on it because I think it went on a
That
bit
was
too
visually
long.
cool. I like it.
It was visually
Like
cool.
the fight.
Yeah, but it was so. It took me out because it was bad. It was just nothing like that ever happens in the movie again, and nothing before. It's such a different type of
Yeah.
scene. It's much like Kirk when we reviewed Creed 3, and how there's some people that hate the fights in that because all of a sudden it gets like really animated.
Yeah.
It's like a different type of fight. So I didn't dislike it. I was just like, this is quite a choice. And I thought, oh, is the rest of the movie going to be not, of course, drug filled, but very stylized? And it didn't end up being that. So I don't know how I felt about all, but visually very cool though.
Yeah, visually it was fantastic. I love the fighting that went hand in hand with it, just highlighting like the punches or smacks that were being released by the Goss. All that was great, but I was really expecting it to like not being how we were perceiving it. Actually, I thought it was I thought it was just like a drug effect that he thought he was kicking ass, and then it was just like revealed that he just got his ass handed to him. Like I was waiting for that moment to happen. But he just,
That's like the first action scene that
yeah,
he's doing
yeah,
like John
exactly.
Wick stuff.
He goes full John Wick, Jason Bourne level, where I'm like,
Yes.
okay, surely this can't be it. Like the stunt devil guy, like he can take a hit, he can drive a boat with his hands tied behind his back, facing the opposite direction. But to just take on all these like jack dudes, there's no way. So I was like waiting for the reveal to happen, but it didn't. He just was actually popping off while he was on these drugs. So for that reason, it seemed a little unnecessary because it's not like it like really like hindered him too much. It was just like emphasizing like the fight already. So it was kind of strange in that sense. I did like the unicorn that just kept popping up, and like I think when he first breaks into the apartment, or maybe it was the hotel, that's he walks in, there's just like a unicorn to the side. It's subtle enough that it doesn't really like interfere with the scene, but you know that he's still on drugs but when you see those unicorns. So I thought that was funny, but yeah, it was a little strange just initially, but the execution was great.
I like when the split screen pulls away when she hangs up the phone, and then the unicorn's just like right where she was in the conversation. Yeah, I liked it. I don't know. I guess there wasn't a lot of just like straight up hand-to-hand combat in this. It's more like about the bigger set pieces. So that was maybe a nice welcome change. I just like all the neon and the bright lights of it. So yeah, I thought it was fun, and that was one I didn't feel like went on too long. So yeah, it worked for me.
I think it was really really fun just getting like the neon colors and just the slow-mo kind of effects of him, just the different shots too, just like the cork coming out of the bottle and everything in that fight sequence. I really really enjoyed it. I thought that was definitely a highlight. I was laughing when the unicorn was popping up, but I wasn't sure like, okay, how long is this kind of gonna go? But it was fun just how the unicorn was following him. It definitely made me laugh at times. So yeah, I think the fact that it wasn't touched upon again later on was a little peculiar, but I think they just really were just
You want the unicorn to come back?
no, like just the whole like the fact I guess you don't need to drug him multiple times, but it just felt like it was a one and done, and the one and done was just done for the comedic approach where he bumps into Jodie and he has that comedic conversation with her, and then he's just dealing with this unicorn that just pops up every so often. So it was really only serving a point of just being like a laughing thing. But I guess you learn later on that they were drugging him because they were maybe gonna kill him. But that's Ryan Gosling speculating about that. We don't actually know, and even the guy says too, like, we're just supposed to drug you. So I don't know really what the whole plan was. Maybe they were gonna capture him there. I don't know. It seemed like it was a poorly thought out plan.
I don't think the drug was on purpose. I think that was just the drug dealer guy, because they just needed him to go to the hotel, right? They didn't need him to be drugged. So
Yeah, another thing that I thought plot wise was a bit strange was this plot that Gale had like set up a flight for him to leave leave the city, like, because at first when it happened I was like, this doesn't really make sense for her, and then when it flipped around and the heel turn happened for her, I was like, oh, I guess this makes sense. But then when I thought about it after, it's like I still don't really understand, even from her perspective, what the purpose of like did she actually get a flight for him? If so, that would probably not help the case against him when the cops are doing all their investigation of this thing after it's all said and done. But then, like, I don't know, they just needed to, like, they sent the garbage truck after him. Well, no, I guess the garbage truck was more going after
Stephanie Shu there.
yeah.
Because they
So-
won the phone, which is like he had the phone, so that's why she didn't have on it. Same thing, she can kick butt. So I think she did buy him a flight, and I don't know what the
But they had to kill him there in Sydney, so he wouldn't have left.
maybe the plan though was to intercept him while he was on the way to the airport, and they would know like, hey, I've given him tickets to the airport. He's gonna go
Yeah.
there the next few hours. Risky place to get him, but at least it's like you can't get him on the set, so it's like, you know, from the set to the airport, there's like a route he's probably gonna go.
guess
So maybe that's
so.
what she was thinking of. Get him. These guys are gonna get the phone. The other guys are gonna get him, and then it's all gonna come together.
Yeah, I guess but then the other side of it is like, from our perspective, it's making it look like Gosling's character is actually like gonna leave, and he's like, well, I guess this was
Yeah.
fun and all, but like, oh, this is just a fleeting dream. Like, it's not actually gonna happen. So I guess I'll leave, and then shit just goes crazy. So he doesn't end up leaving, and we never even hear him say that really. That like, oh, I was never gonna leave, even though
Yeah.
kind of feels like he wasn't. So that was the one plot point that I was a little confused by, even though the
Yeah.
reveals at the end didn't really fix it for me. It's a kind of a nitpick. It doesn't really matter, but just kind of a minor thing.
And he wasn't gonna leave, right? Because he did get back to karaoke. He ran with John Claude, right? All
Yeah, I mean, that was
battered and
after like everything, and that kind of changed the situation. But
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. It is strange, just her like main motivation, I think, to get him out of there. I kind of just read it as maybe they were hoping he would look more guilty of like trying to flee the country. and,
Yeah, that could work too.
And then
but
they,
would that
like,
line
now
up with
in
the
that sense-
suicide storyline they were going for?
See, no, yeah, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
like it's
They
just
changed
purely more
course, they
making
changed
him look
course.
guilty.
Yeah,
so
they're rewriting.
I don't know.
the
It
script.
was strange.
Something that got me, because I thought for sure this was gonna happen when he was texting her. Another thing I laughed when he's like, "I'm a pickle." That got me. I thought the whole plot point, because they have that going on and the phone gets shot, I thought how they were going to get out of it was that he texted her the video, but because the phone went in the water,
Yeah.
we didn't get to see that till, oh, it dries up and magically she has it. But that wasn't the case. But I thought for sure that's why they did this whole plot point of the phone going in the water, and really didn't, just I guess just to delay her from calling. And but that was a good moment because it gets shot, and yeah, of course the way they like get him to admit it is very, very huge and over the top. Of you're gonna have to get him in a car and you're gonna do this stunt and he's gonna be wired up and yet but at that point it's like, okay, I'm going with it. So they got me a couple ways there. I think I worried we are gonna go longer because they're doing this like a minute montage of showing everyone reacting to him being dead, and then luckily it ended with him swimming. I was like, man, I don't need 10 minutes of this movie, everyone think he's dead and then he shows up. I thought we were going that route, so I'm glad they didn't. Like, there's a version of this movie where someone gets in the car there, Taylor Johnson, he takes off his glasses, and it's like, oh my god, he's alive. So I was happy right away they showed, okay, no, he's still here, because I was getting a little worried. I'm like, Emily Blunt's a great actress, but you don't need to make her depressed and crying right now. You know, we're having a good time, but luckily they didn't, so that's another pro for me.
She had a lot of faith in him, given that he had been gone for so long, that maybe she could have felt like, I don't really know this guy anymore. Like, maybe he did this murder. Like, just believe
She was
that.
very certain, yeah, because that cockroach thing, remember? Let him outside.
Right, that was
yeah.
the ceiling deal. Yeah.
And one thing I'm surprised never came back up was his back, because he has scars on his back. They showed at the beginning of the movie he's stretching. He had those things, whatever they are. I thought at any point there might be like an injury, whether it be the stunt or the fight, and he's just good to go. So I was kind of surprised by that. So
He's got adamantium bones, man. He
does, yeah.
Very resilient.
yeah,
Yeah, maybe he just needed the confidence, and he got that once he did the car flip at the
yeah.
near the beginning of the movie there.
Which he screwed up at first, broke a camera, you know.
He made it up though. at
Yeah.
the end.
And same another thing that faked me out. I thought for sure she was gonna realize it was him when she heard his voice over the radio, but didn't, because he says like, "Oh, the sands to whatever," and I thought she's gonna clue in, but She didn't.
That moment got me too. When he's they're like getting ready to go, he's like, "Bad sand." No, it's not gonna work. We gotta wait for the time to come in.
Yeah, especially how over dramatic it was of him like picking up the sand.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
and it's like slow mo, but then it just cuts out and he just like throws the sand and then
Yeah.
it has that line. It was good.
Mhm.
Another kind of running gag I liked was in like the first half an hour of this movie, or like once he's past the depression phase and he's sent off to Australia, like he just really wants a cup of coffee, and just no
Oh,
matter
yeah.
what, he just can't get one. Where Gail's coffee machine is broken, and like especially the timing too, where she comes in, she's like, "Oh, don't use that, it's broken." Like after it's already blown up, or then when he gets into the apartment, and then that lady with the sword comes after him. He does the flip over the couch, and there's just nothing left in that mug. Then he finally gets it when he's in the hotel at the end, which is like a not at the end, but later on, which is a nice cathartic moment.
Mhm.
That was fun. Also, I love Momoa's cameo. I thought that was very fun, especially with the Dune connection there, and this being like a very Dune-like movie. But that was like a perfect kind of 4 minute sequence of him in there. I thought that was a perfect casting for something like that.
And they had that sticky note at the middle too to allude to it, right? Momoa.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which is funny. In my notes, I wrote his name the wrong way too. Which is like, I didn't even realize how I maybe would screw up spelling that name until it happened.
I do
Yeah.
it all the time. But the sticky notes, I liked that gag as well. I
Yeah.
like when they get in there, it's just they say it's like memento, but literally when you get in there, it's everything. The little notes they had and
Oscar.
baby,
Yes.
Oscar baby, yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I enjoyed everything with his little loft there.
I was trying to read like all the notes. That's something if I were to watch it on streaming, I would definitely pause and
Mhm.
try and read all those
I
notes.
had one of those guys in my theater that just like says the things that he's reading on screen, and so like he would just read out some of the sticky notes, or he like that text. He was like, "I'm a pickle." They just like laughed about that. Those are the words. Just keep your thoughts to yourself. It's not even like an interesting thought. It's just you reading out something you see on screen, man.
Yeah. Anything else to shout out specifically? Scenes, moments, characters?
I mean, I could just show a bunch of jokes, but that's not really worth doing.
Yeah.
It's just
It's tough with
found it-
comedies, right?
Yeah.
These reviews are always gonna.
I found it very funny. I think that's all my notes.
Travis, this Metal Storm movie that was shown, I was just like, it's reminded me of Rebel Moon a little bit, and I don't know, this looked better than maybe what Rebel Moon could have been. I was more interested in this world.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. I can see what you're saying there. So
I haven't seen Rebel Moon Part 2, but I would happily take a movie of Metal Storm because the fight scenes that they were doing look super cool. I love.
I'm sure
seeing,
you
like,
can find some equivalent on Netflix or Prime Video of a Metal Storm
This-
that's made
this
for
has, like-
$50,000.
Well, this looked like it had like a pretty good budget to it, like
It
just the
did.
effects and all that, and just the way like the ships were coming in the background and the whole war was happening down below. I was like, this is really cool. I like the scale setting. I'm glad we got the trailer at the end of this movie just to kind of indulge in it. That was really cool.
I thought for a second we were getting a Tropic Thunder It's All movie moment when the thing came up and it like the balloon, it showed the title. I was like, oh, they're gonna do some sort of thing that this was a movie, but they didn't. Just the trailer. So poor stunt guy has to sit in the crowd. Doesn't even get to go out with her. But
Yeah.
Also, by the way, this is just like this is why I wish the movie was a bit more cheesier. But they're talking about so much about careers and ending things. The idea that they think this movie would come out if their stuntman was murdered by the other stuntman, like that movie would be fucking, it'd be done ski. And then even more so what happens with like Tom Ryan, like for someone's first time directing a movie, I just laugh and like, oh, we got to figure this out. We're getting in trouble. It's like already someone's died on the set. There's been this big thing. It's just, obviously it's a movie, so it's all fine and dandy. But I laugh when they're like, we got to be really careful. It's like already this would be persona non grata of huge controversy, like Tom Ryder. That'd be the equivalent of like, what's the next? That'd be in this movie, Fall Guy. If Ryan Gosling killed a stunt guy, and then it just went on, and I don't know if it could become the biggest movie of that summer. So
Maybe that news wasn't officially public that Tom Ryder was doing this movie. You know?
true, yeah, true. Could have been a secret because they did replace him with Momoa.
Because by the end, the
so-
movie's not even out. It's just a trailer, so it's
Yeah.
the movie's still yet to come out.
Yeah, and I guess they did replace him. So you know what? Maybe I take it. It depends how far along there. Because nice pause.
And we
on me
saw
there.
the deep fake technology. I mean, they can just take all those scenes and put Momoa in there easily, right?
They did do that with the movie The Color of Money when Kevin Spacey had all his trouble. They reshot all his scenes. Now he was just
Right.
a supporting character, so it is possible. But this is, but it's all good. But yeah, that's all the notes I have. Jesus,
All the sticky notes.
fuck.
All my notes.
Camera's tripping
Camera's
out over
turning.
there.
Yeah, my camera's turning against me. Anything else from you boys?
Mm-mm.
All right,
Can't
I
think
will
of
give
anything.
this 6.75 out of 10. That's where I am. One to try to get it to 7, maybe one day, because maybe I probably will see this again if Emily wants to see it. So I shouldn't put as I'll never see it again, but out of my way. It's not going to be like Bullet Train where I'm like, oh, you got to see this. Like, we'll get to it eventually when it's on a streaming service or Netflix. So had a good enough time with it, but yeah, definitely what I'm going to look back as all the tools and the pieces were there, but they just didn't quite fit together. 2/3 of a puzzle done, and the rest of the pieces are kind of missing. So that's where I am. 6.65.
Kirkland, as a big puzzle guy, do you agree with that puzzle analogy?
Big puzzle guy. Have you even finished that puzzle you're working on?
Hasn't even
Which
cracked the
one?
box.
He's not
The
about
Star Wars
he's not,
one.
I don't think he's there to finish it. He's there to for the journey. That's
I like
vibe
the
I get.
process. I have not finished that one.
Like video
Travis,
games,
no.
yeah.
It's too hard. Taylor just speed ran that puzzle.
You can watch the TikTok.
Very-
and
very-
you're
I've been studying
Spoilers.
your walkthrough, and I don't know how you
Pausing
got
it
to the
sec-
stage that you're at.
Pausing it second by second, like how Dylan taught you on YouTube, like the millisecond
Yeah.
you're doing that on TikTok.
Jumping by frames.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, for my rating on this film, I think I'm gonna go 8 out of 10. One solid stuntman
Whoa,
thumb
that's
up.
higher than I thought you
That's
were.
much
Yeah,
better
no,
than
I-
thought.
Yeah.
I think I still think this is a really great movie with some just great chemistry on screen. I think my biggest holdups were just I was expecting a very goofy, just straight comedy that that didn't have these romantic elements to them. Which I like rom-coms. I just had to set my little my tuning bar to the right genre for this one. So I do think I am excited to watch it again. Shay wasn't there tonight to see it, so I'm excited to watch it with her. And
Another
I
clone
think
down.
I think it'll be one that I maybe like more and more with each viewing. But yeah, as of right now, 8 out of 10. Those Dune references, that was just so fucking good.
That got us
Gosling
good,
crying
yeah.
in the car, like there is some really great comedic moments that really got me in this one. But yeah,
Nice. Taylor, what do you got?
I am feeling. I was feeling a smidge lower than Travis, but I think I'm gonna match him with a 6.75. I feel like that's a pretty good, not overly generous and not overly negative either on the film. Again, I had a fun time. I'm glad that I did not see this alone. I'm glad I saw it with you guys because I feel like it made it a little
It's
bit.
the Homelander.
Yeah.
I mean, I did see it alone, and I had a great time. So maybe you should have seen it alone, actually.
You weren't
I'm
alone. You were
happy
with
to
that
hear
guy
that.
that was reading out those texts.
Well, yeah, true.
Oh yeah. You had somebody.
You had somebody.
But I think this movie it has its moments that are emotional and upbeat and has comedic strides to it too. That and action. It has so many different things going for it that I think it's definitely something that people will watch at least once and they'll either enjoy it or they'll not enjoy it. I don't know, but it's something you should at least watch once because it definitely has those things in it that I feel like a lot of people can kind of come together and appreciate. Like you said, Travis, if you are informed with the whole movie scene, you're going to pick up on a lot of different things and enjoy it. And for us, especially, the Dune cries was just great. And that's just embedded in my memory, and I wonder at what point they decide just to toss that in. I know it's just a sound effect, so they could have done that at probably a week before they distributed this to the theaters, probably for
yeah.
all they wanted, cared. So
Don't
I just
send it
think
out
that's
yet. We
better.
got to put the scream in there.
Put it in, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if it was before or after Dune 2, because obviously Dune 2 is coming up, but then Dune 2 is now the biggest movie of the year, so I wonder if that enhanced it, because it's not needed, but it's such a good cue. So I'm happy it
is,
made it in
it
there.
is.
So we gotta
Yeah.
we gotta do our own version sometime. So,
I did not expect that I'd be the highest on this movie
Yeah.
going in at all because you are the Bullet Train trio. Yeah, I definitely had a great time with this. Guys, get this. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10.
Wow.
I'm giving it a
Drop
number.
Rain score. Wow.
A number
that crazy?
rating.
Back
Very
forever
rare.
or a special occasion?
We'll see. We'll see. I was just watching this and I was like, I just feel like giving this a number. And I was at
Yeah.
a 10 for a while. And then the ending, I didn't lose 2 points like Taylor, but I think I lost 1 point.
Yeah.
Plus some other minor things. So yeah, I'm happily giving this a big stuntman thumb up.
The stuntman
And
thumb up,
AKA 9 out of 10.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
Taylor's original score would have been 8.75, I guess, without that ending. That's
Yep.
Whoa.
And I would stand
really
by
ruined
that.
it. Really
was
ruined
definitely
that
the
ending.
ending for me.
It's a bummer.
Crazy.
It's all about the ending, folks. Well,
Yeah.
thank you very much for tuning in. Let us know what you thought about it. Any questions, anything we missed, because we've also got newscasts and after nines. I'm sure we'll talk about this again. And thank you very much for tuning in. When you hear from us next, it won't be boring.
Bye.